God, I just wish I was a bee. Whoa, dude, what are you doing? Oh.
Bee Simulator for Nintendo Switch. Yeah, checks out. Right off the bat, you can tell a lot more effort was put into this game than what's par for the course with these animal sims. We got multiple language options, a nice opening cutscene, voice acting? I didn't even know that was possible for one of these games. Well, it's a good thing they actually gave a damn about this game, because for as long as I can remember, I've always wanted a video game that serves as an accurate representation of bee life. I just want to cut the bullshit and get knee deep into this thing. I want to play as a bee and only as a bee. If this game's gonna have the audacity to just be named Bee Simulator, it better maintain its focus. So we get to pick our profile and wait a minute, that's not a bee.
What the f?
Okay, it's fine. I'll let it slide. It's like they always say, nobody's perfect. We get to pick the difficulty. I'll go with hard, because I'm not a bitch. And we're dropped into the hive. I name myself Tonio. What, did you think I was capable of coming up with something more clever? Look at me. Yeah, this is pretty much what I would expect the inside of a beehive to look like. Listen, I'm not saying this game's graphics are anything groundbreaking, but you gotta admit, it's decent enough. Personally, I think this game actually has a pretty neat visual flair. Translation, it doesn't look like this. Oh my god. This might be the first one of these games I've played that's actually attempting to simulate what it's really like to be the animal it's about. Am I dreaming? I'd be concerned if my dreams looked like this, but not as concerned as you'd think. So in the starting area, we're introduced to all the main mechanics of the game, including collecting pollen, our ability to speed ourselves up mid-flight using a tactic called Beetro, bee vision. Okay, so maybe they're not going for accuracy in every department. I mean, to be fair, I can't prove that bees don't have this. We got these cute little loading screens between areas featuring fun little bee facts and brain teasers to ponder about while you're waiting. The average worker bee only produces about 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey in her lifetime. How many bees for a jar of honey?
Oh, I know this. Finland!
Damn, I should have studied for this. After talking to our bee life consultant, as well as the queen bee, we're finally given the ability to fly out of the hive into the human world. God, look at this cutscene. I don't want to oversell this game, but this is way more visually interesting than it really needed to be. They put some genuine effort into this. I can't express how much I appreciate that this isn't completely half-assed. So in the main area, we're given the privilege of flying around a relatively expansive open space and complete various missions. We get to talk to Sick Bee Jackie, the highest honor, and we're introduced to the main gameplay styles in this game. First up, there's Follow, which can be described as fly through the rings and chase the insect. We take a peek inside this picnic basket and uh-oh.
You nosy little bee!
You, Wasp Avery! And we now get to try the next gameplay style, fighting. This has a surprising amount of complexity considering it's bee fighting. You got a health bar, stamina, multiple attacking styles, block mechanics, a special meter, which is the bare minimum you could expect from a typical fighting game, but this is fucking Bee Simulator. It's like you don't expect a dog to be able to tie its shoes. God, I just can't get a hold of this fighting gameplay. I don't feel like a bee, I feel like a bitch.
Why can't you be both?
Okay, I got a little better, and now I'm able to kick some serious bee ass in this game, so, you know, I can die happy now. The next mechanic we're made aware of is our ability to eat food. That's pretty much all I could have asked for from this game. You can fly up to random people and sting them if you're an asshole. That's pretty much all I could have asked for from this game. We return to the hive, go to the bee library, the library for bees. We're introduced to one last variety of gameplay, bee dancing. You can't have a bee simulator game without bee dancing. This is a pretty simple match the action type minigame thing, but like, it's inoffensive. And at this point, we're pretty much just able to fly around and do whatever we want, which equates to taking on various tasks in which we switch between chasing something, fighting something, dancing, or collecting pollen. Listen, I could complain about the repetitive nature of Bee Simulator's gameplay, but if I really had a problem with it, I think I just have a problem with bees to begin with. I'm not saying I don't. Well, if the single player campaign is too monotonous for you, we do have local multiplayer included, which is a pretty nice touch. Gives a little bit of spice to couch co-op arguments.
I'm a better bee than you.
No, you're not. I'm a better bee.
I'm a better bee.
No. Too bad the multiplayer sucks. Like, it's not bad. it's just not very fun. It's completely comparable, at least from the little that I played of it. It's just not really compelling in the same way that the single player is. Like, you get objectives, but they don't feel as necessary to complete. The most you can gain from this mode is flying around as a bee with your buds, and bee blood matches. Overall, this might be the most polished quality experience we've seen yet from one of these games. It's a shame I'm not 5. This game feels tailor-made for a younger audience, which isn't a bad thing. It's great to have games like this, especially with the multiplayer aspect. You have a game perfect for kids to play with their parents. At its core, this is a relatively simple, easy to understand game, but like, I would be remiss to not acknowledge the amount of effort and polish this game had that it very easily could have not had. Especially with the varying styles of gameplay. There's a whole ass story mode included with objectives that you get points for completing, which you can then redeem for in-game costumes. This is genuinely commendable. But when you try to sit down and seriously play this as an adult with no incentive of using it as a means of bonding with your children, I mean, you might as well have just handed me a gun, man. Don't get me wrong, I could see myself getting legitimate enjoyment out of this when I was a kid. Keep in mind, this was me as a kid.